I'm Andrew Herscher, and I'm happy to introduce the last panel today. I suppose I should tell you that I was just told that I have the choice of introducing this panel by saying something or by saying nothing. And it's a very difficult decision. I think based on the kind of clarity of the distinction between these alternatives, and I realize it's only a seeming clarity of distinction, I'm going to choose the former. So what follows will be something in the way of an introduction. The end is near. And I'm saying this to you not as a historian, even though, as we've already heard over these last 2 days, historians feel it well within their bounds to profess upon the future, at the very least upon their own future. I'm saying it rather as the moderator of this, the last panel on the last day of the last of this 2-year-long series of conferences that have been dedicated to speculating in multiple senses on architecture's various futures. And before beginning, let me echo the already echoing thanks to all of those who have allowed this speculation to take place today, the administration and the staff of Taubman College, Monica, John, Marianne, Denise, Jeanette, Amy, Amber, Alicia. This is like the Academy Awards, right? But also, I want to thank you, our colleagues, our students, our friends, our frenemies. In other words, the community within which the discussions that have begun today will, I hope, extend and expand. Like all of the other moderators here, I have been gifted with this panel, and it is a very gifted panel, as you will see. And what I have gifted the panelists with in return was a set of questions. These were questions that would hopefully invite the panelists to focus on the issue at hand, and that issue being architectural history in its mode as something that is taught, and in particular, something that is taught as part of the curriculum of schools of architecture. And when I say architectural history, what I really mean is something that's called architectural history, because I think if anything has become clear over the last couple of days, it's that architectural history is not a name for something that means any one thing. Rather, it's something that signifies multiple things across different times, across different places, across different interpretive communities. Could anyone deny that the place of architectural history, this thing called architectural history, in the professional school is a fraught one? Well, Sybil Moholy-Nagy couldn't. In 1967, she was, by all reports, a formidably intelligent and skillful and witty teacher. She wrote, and this is a quote, "An inquiry into a methodology of teaching architectural history to students of architecture boils down to 3 decisive points. Why to teach a discipline which is generally rejected by practitioners, whom to select for such an unpopular task, and how to implement the ordeal of 4 credit units of glazed eyes, chronic absenteeism, and interfaculty condescension." Now, it's 40 years later, right? And it seems as if things have changed. First and foremost, there seems to have been a kind of almost irrevocable yoking together of the profession of architecture and the profession of architectural education. For example, some, maybe many practitioners are not at all dismissive of something called history, but on the contrary, they are deeply invested in this thing. The task of teaching this thing seems to be a very popular one, at least if you judge this by the rising number of applications to doctoral programs and teaching jobs. But I don't think either of these things can be construed as at least automatically, as an improvement in and of itself. If by improvement we're pointing to something other than merely the institutionalization of architectural history, something, for example, maybe like the future. The future, and here I mean not simply what's going to come next, but rather what might begin anew. The future is precisely that which cannot be institutionalized, that which can be anticipated only as a risk, that which breaks absolutely with whatever is constituted as normal or normative. So it's the practice of teaching, whether it's of architectural history or anything else, which is fraught because it's a conjuring or a kind of solicitation of something that doesn't yet exist. And so what Sybil Moholy-Nagy was kind of evoking with what she called the ordeal of teaching architectural history might actually be staging something else, perhaps staging the way in which our future is not ours, that it depends on others, and the classroom might be a place where the future might begin to be co-constituted in very much the kind of way that our past is not our own, as Susan Buckmore suggested this morning, and at a moment when the future of teaching itself, especially at public universities across America and the globe, is under unprecedented threats, the teaching of the future takes on, in turn, unprecedented stakes. Our first panelist today is Eve Blau from the Graduate School of Design at Harvard. Second, we'll hear from Wes Jones, a distinguished partner at Jones Partners and teacher at many schools of architecture, including most currently SciArc. Our third speaker is Derek Collins, Associate Dean for the Humanities here at Michigan. Fourth, we'll hear from William Mencken, founder and editor-in-chief of the Architect's Newspaper and professor at Pratt. And our panel will be concluded by George Baird, a founding member of Baird Simpson Neuert Architects and professor emeritus, former dean of the John H. Daniels Faculty of Architecture, Landscape, and Design at the University of Toronto. Please join me in welcoming them.